problem. And that gets out to the people around the surrounding areas. Hey, come to Hermosa Beach. You're not going to be held accountable for your actions. The business owner is going to be accountable. So I want to start seeing those statistics from the police department. How many times are there arrests being made, charges being filed, and the convictions being made? Thank you.
Thank you. The second person to answer will be Mary.
Thank you. Actually have not heard many people, and I've been talking to a lot, who want to close the bars down. I certainly would not want to close the bars down. I would want to partner with the bar owners that people focus on, that they tie very closely to the problematic behavior that becomes very challenging for the public safety community, maybe after closing especially, and so forth. But I don't see this as an extreme all or nothing. I think we have a character, a beach character. Many people have talked about it, coming and enjoying and partying and having a good time. We also want it to be very safe. I've also heard a lot of people say they want just more balance. They want everyone to feel welcome, no matter the age, no matter what their intention for the evening, and they want it to feel safe to do so. And so I think if we can get the balance right and work together as a business community, I know we can get it right. We can improve the whole equation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next question. If you think council decisions should be based on the will of the voters, how should a council person figure out what the voters in the city want? Alternatively, if you think council decisions should be based on the council person's opinion, explain why. First person to answer will be Trent.
Okay, we live in a democratic republic, and that is why you elect council people, and that's why you should know how we feel, and that's why these debates are critically important. I'm doing my level best to tell you how I feel, and so you'll have a very good idea how I make decisions and how I vote. Having said that, taking public input is very important to me, and I'm a very good and active listener. And I can take my own experiences, my own ideas, what I would like to see done, and mesh it with what the community wants, and what you're saying to me, and what you're telling. So, given all of that, it's a combination of all those things go into me and into my decision-making process. But the most important thing is electing the right council people, the people that you can trust, the people that can make decisions, and that you can talk to, and that you can understand where they're coming from, and that they give you the facts as they see them, and so you have a good decision on how to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next person is Stacy.
Thank you. Whenever making a decision on council, when an issue is in front of us, I always seek public input. I try to keep an open mind. I make sure to do my homework. I always consider the unintended consequences of a decision. I always consider the fiscal implications of a decision. I seek the advice of people that know the history of Hermosa and why things are the way they are. I also watch many of the commission meetings when they have issues that are going to come in front of us, so I have the benefit of seeing the public input and the commissioners' deliberations on some tough issues. And I also take time to meet with businesses, residents, and staff on a regular basis to resolve issues early and move ideas forward.
Neighboring cities have robust economic development programs. El Segundo, for example, has an Economic Development Advisory Council to advise the city on business retention and attraction. Incentives such as lower business tax rate and expedited permitting process earned El Segundo the title of most business-friendly city in LA. The city set a goal to attract 100 new businesses and surpassed it, bringing in nearly 200 new businesses. Commercial vacancies in El Segundo are down. Hermosa Beach, by contrast, has an economic development page on its website, but it hasn't been updated in 7 years. As a city council person, what are 3 things you will do to attract new businesses to the city? Stacy.
It's an interesting comparison to El Segundo. I do know their model and it works very well for them. We are certainly not El Segundo. We are our own little beach city. That being said, we certainly need to streamline the permitting process. That has been a little funky, so to speak, some people have said, and we could do better. We have budgeted for an economic development person, and that position remains open right now. We need to continue to pursue filling that. And we need to do a better job working with new business owners and existing business owners when problems arise, and collaborating with those businesses to resolve to resolve complications, and also collaborate with the chamber to make sure we have good outcomes.
Thank you. Trent?
Okay, for business retention, and there's three main things. The permitting process takes too long and it should be streamlined. Code enforcement, we need to scale that way back because we're really hassling people. And also the parking requirements drive people out. In fact, they don't even want to come here. And a good example of this is playing out right now with regarding Skechers. Here's a major corporation of America, publicly held company. They want to build here, and we are taking our time, and we may be driving them away, and that's not good. Skechers is very important to this city, and it's already baked into the cake for revenue. Also, we need to develop the Strand and Pier Hotel. That property now is vacant and empty, and they spent over $19 million for that property, and that will help economic development in the city of Hermosa Beach. It will bring a lot more with it. It's an anchor tenant, and it will help all of our other businesses along the pier and all along the way. People will staycation here. They will come from all around the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. What are 3 things you will do to retain existing businesses in the city? Mary?
Well, I'm really big on being in dialogue and communication. I think a lot gets missed in the possibilities for a larger conversation when we are not talking face to face and sitting down with the intention of what can we do together that we can all get extremely excited about. So I'd be very big on meeting together with the business community, seeing what are the current challenges right now, talking with them about solutions, and talking with them about the future, so that we can have this conversation that not only addresses the present but also addresses the future. Secondly, I'm really interested in Hermosa getting very serious about updating old zoning laws that no longer apply or fit where we need to go. And finally, I would be a champion of pursuing a more robust conversation about the downtown revitalization, not just improving safety, but actually talking about where we want to see ourselves down the road.
Thank you. Hanny?
So I think one of the first things to do is to have the communication with our businesses to see what issues that they're struggling with. So I had the opportunity to have a meeting at the invitation of Tim Holland with the various retail stores earlier this week, and hear for the first time from them some of the concerns and issues that they have with the city. And one of the things I've heard loud and clear is nobody's having dialogue from the city with them about what's going on with the city. The example that they used, which was loud and clear to me, literally, was the Edison project in Pier Avenue. It was a surprise to the business on Pier Avenue, and we, the city, should have done a better job communicating that, so that's one of the things that we do. The other thing is there's a group called Pride that's been working on some issues for the last couple of months, and they've had some good ideas about basically talking to the businesses about the issues that they're having and how they can improve these issues, and working with the city staff. So you go to businesses and say, hey, what are you struggling with? And they have to come up with a plan, talk to the city staff, can we make this happen for these businesses? And I think an expansion of that, having the people in the community working with our businesses, will be one thing that we can help improve on. And then lastly, it's already mentioned, the downtown improvement project, that's going to be before us at the next meeting on Tuesday, including adding more lights downtown and just improving the vibe in downtown area.
Thank you. Next question. What kinds of businesses would you like to see come to Hermosa, and what will you do to try and bring them here? Pete Tucker?
Thank you. The kind of businesses normally, that's kind of a hard one to figure, but most businesses that come here want to be here on their own, but we need to go out of our way to help them, and we've heard tonight where we need to expedite the permit process. We need to look at our parking regulations, because a lot of stores down there would even just like to renovate, but with the parking restrictions, they're not allowed to do that. We need to look at our, if we're allowed, a new business comes in, they might say, I'd like to do a new storefront or facade. We need to waive that restriction and allow them to project out into the public way. And in the residential, we call that a architectural projection, which allows people to go into their side yard with no problem. So I think we need to look at those kind of things to renovate. But let's remember, let's not destroy the downtown area. There's a lot of cities that have torn their downtown down. Look at Redondo Beach, they no longer have a downtown. And San Pedro, they're upset because Beacon Street is going away. So we need to be very careful as to how we proceed with new businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt?
Thank you, Julie. As far as how I would track businesses in the area here in Hermosa Beach, first and foremost is the deregulation of all our code enforcement that we have. From what I hear from the current businesses here in Hermosa Beach, they are highly overregulated. Once we change our reputation from being anti-business to pro-businesses, the businesses will come. I don't think it's the role of government to handpick the winners and losers who are successful here, but I think we create a culture here that we are business friendly. Successful businesses will come here and they will thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just say, everyone's answers tonight are so good. You're all doing a really good job. How's everybody feeling back there? Anybody need another beer or wine or something in the back? All right. Candidates, do you need a drink? All right. Moving on to the next question. Despite Hermosa's rich musical history, there are only a small handful of places in the city now where people can hear live music. The city frequently cites retailers for violations relating to acoustic live music and charges substantial fees for special event permits. The city also strictly prohibits live entertainment and dancing at many alcohol-serving establishments. The question is, do you think the city's stance toward live entertainment is reasonable? And do you think prohibiting live entertainment and dancing is justified? Why or why not? Pete Tucker.
Thank you. The city, a lot of these establishments have what we call CUPs, and they're limited as to the area of their dance floor. Other places, we used to call that the kind of weaving in while you're standing there having a drink to the music. And other places have, during the week, a lot of these establishments or businesses need customers, and to have someone in there playing an acoustic guitar, it's not really bothering anyone. I have no problem with that. As far as the dancing, there again, it's how big their establishment is and what they can do. But I think we have to kind of step back, because during the week, downtown is really just a ghost town. It's on the weekends that we need to look at things. But these businesses pay a tremendous amount of rent. Some of them pay over $20,000 a month before they even turn the light on, just in their lease. So we have to really help them out if we want them to stay here. So we have to look and really, to me, it'd be more complaint driven if some place has a guy that's really having a giant concert in there during the week. So thank you.
Thank you. Trent.
It really feels a little bit like Big Brother run amok on some of these establishments that have live music, and we've toned it down way too much. I understand that if it is super noisy outside and residents nearby can hear, that there might be an issue and that would be complaint driven. But I'm really not in favor of, I would be more open, so to speak, to having more live music, more venues, more opportunities for our musicians, less code enforcement, and more freedom. And it really, if the business owner is the one that is responsible for his facility and maintaining that, and his customers. And I believe that people behave responsibly when given that choice and opportunity. And only when it becomes an issue would we then talk to the business owner. So I'm in favor of more freedom, not less freedom, more fun, and et cetera, rather than more clamping down on them with a Big Brother style of code enforcement.
Thank you. And shout out to Jack Tracy, our musician in the back. All right, next question. In 2014, City Council approved a plan to revitalize the neglected PCH aviation corridor. The beautification project would have brought gateway signs, a landscaped center median, wider ADA-compliant sidewalks, new lighting, underground utility poles, city furniture, and more. The Council of Governments invested $3.4 million on a study, and the city invested approximately $800,000 to qualify for a $40 to $50 million Caltrans project. Despite all this, the project does not appear to be going anywhere. This is the question, would you like to see PCH improvement, the PCH aviation project prioritized? And what is your vision for the neglected PCH aviation corridor? Annie.
So the unfortunate situation with PCH Aviation is, unfortunately, we don't own PCH. So we have some things that we go down the plan based on what Caltrans is working with us to do. In 2014, during the time frame that Julie was referring to, Caltrans was just all over getting this project going. Actually, our city manager at the time called them up for a meeting. And so to his surprise, 10 people from Caltrans showed up in our city, Hermosa Beach, to have a tour of PCH and talk about the project they wanted to do. And they were pulled in. Unfortunately, as we sit here in 2017, there's new management in Caltrans, and their enthusiasm for the project has gone away. And because we don't own the street, we really don't have a whole lot of control of what Caltrans can and cannot do. It's an unfortunate situation, and our city manager, who's either here or was here earlier, had significant follow-up meetings with Caltrans, including one I think as recent as last Friday. He keeps us updated on what's going on. Caltrans plans now have been significantly reduced than they were. And my hope that going forward with the passage of Measure M, which provides funding for transportation, then maybe we'll be able to get some grant money to get a project going, working with Caltrans on it. But again, because Caltrans makes decisions, our hands are somewhat tied.
Thank you. Mary.
Thank you for the question. I actually think this is an incredibly important project. This is the face of Hermosa coming down PCH, and as a lot of people say, you don't even know you're passing through Hermosa a lot of the time, and we're not that big, because there isn't the signage to welcome you, and there maybe isn't the right perception that we are giving off from that corridor that would have people become interested. Now, we don't want to slow down traffic, but what we want to do is to create a huge welcome mat that looks really interesting, really fun, really exciting. I got to turn off and I got to go there. So I would re-engage Caltrans and try to influence as best we could them getting re-interested in that. And I'm sure there are other paths as well we could pursue. But it would be great to have their partnership in that original conception, as I understand it.
Thank you. Right now, there are a substantial amount of commercial vacancies and a high turnover rate for Hermosa businesses. Retail, bars, and restaurants are going through a great deal of economic pain due to soaring rents, increasing minimum wage, the inability to compete with internet retailers, and government regulation. What should the city do, if anything, to help local brick and mortar businesses alleviate these burdens and to help them thrive? Stacy.
Thank you. I feel like I answered this a little bit on my earlier question, but to reiterate, we need to have a better process between the city and potential and existing businesses, just to really streamline the coordination between what the city's asking for and what the businesses want and how timely they want it. The city council is always here to help when asked. Sometimes those situations get complicated, but we're here to help. We help with apron signs, we help with holiday parking hours, and we're here to help with sidewalk sales. If there's help that the chamber would like to share with us, we're here to help. I also think that we need to prioritize bringing back our economic development director. Again, it's budgeted, we just haven't filled the position yet, and if our second manager is still here, maybe he's heard it enough tonight. Thank you.
Matt?
Thank you, Julian. As far as the city and how they can help business, I think one of the most terrifying things for a business owner is for the government to show up and say, hey, I'm here to help. if you really want to help, the business, it's really about deregulation. This is the theme I've been seeing many times tonight on multiple questions. It is really deregulation. Just get the government out of the way and let the business owner do what they do. Entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs for a reason. Their innovation in this city is being stifled because of regulation. It gets slammed down time and time again. If you really want to unleash the power of the business entrepreneur, let them do what they do best. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to stop asking questions like that. We'll move on to different areas. All right, next question. What is your vision for 11th Street? And that's the area just south of the pier. Stacy.
11th Street, so that has been purchased by a developer. I think the intentions were originally office space, some people want hotels. Really, what we need to do is focus on improving our downtown. That parking lot, Lot A, is dirty, dangerous, and we need to be doing a better job cleaning it up, lighting it up, maintaining it. We want people to feel safe in this community. So before we look at any development proposals that are going to go there, and frankly, it's in the hands of private property owners, we really need to improve the safety, the cleanliness, the lighting, the aesthetics of that parking lot, so people aren't getting hurt and instead want to come to our community and feel safe and welcome.
Thank you. Matt.
Thank you, Julian. As far as the 11th Street and my vision, I wouldn't want to go ahead and implement my personal vision on 11th Street. I think in a situation like that, we want to go ahead and get as much community input as possible. And based on what the community wants and what the community thinks is going to be the best situation down there for 11th Street, that is what I would support. And that's what I think City Council should support. It's about the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. We are moving quickly. All right, next question. The 2017-2018 budget documents show that the city is counting on $2.4 million in general fund revenue to come from fines against residents and businesses. Is it good policy to rely on fines against residents and businesses to make up general fund revenue? And what else could the city do to bring in those $2.4 million? Pete Tucker.
Thank you. Yeah, the 2.4 million, that's a huge amount of money that's in our budget. And to rely on that, I think, is not a good policy. We have some of them, I don't know if it's parking fines or not, but we don't even have the right equipment for our community service people. We put them in electric vehicles, and it's very hard for them, and the ticket revenue's down because of that. But to find residents and to rely on that, I think, is the wrong way to go. We need to be more user-friendly. We need to look at other areas to get that money. And one would be to revitalize our aviation TCH corridor and all the business up there, because we get probably 70% of our tax revenue from those corridors, and they've been neglected since we've opened the Pier Plaza, and that's almost 20 years ago. We're always talking about downtown. We have two other business districts on aviation and Pacific Coast Highway that need help, and we should look there to generate the revenue.
Thank you. Hanny.
I think that the 2.4 million of fines, I think primarily are parking tickets. This is something that the city obviously has to manage the parking. People decide not to feed the meter, or decide to keep over the limit, leaving the car overnight or what have you. These are just part of the things that we have to control parking. Otherwise, if we're not ticketing people are never going to leave the parking spaces, and it just increases our parking problems. But issues to address it would be, as I mentioned before, if we can allow to do it by the Postal Commission, demand surge pricing for parking, so that Saturday night at 10 o'clock, that will be the highest, most expensive parking, and people that are willing to come in and be in our businesses and willing to pay that money, that would make up for the reduction in penalties. And the other thing is improving our parking meters. We've been working with staff and doing that. Unfortunately, it's not before I say we improve the parking meters in the downtown area, immediately affecting our businesses. But the other ones outside of the immediate parking area, the yellow posts, as you can see when you drive by, they're deteriorating, they're getting old. It's a funding issue, but we need to get those parking meters also improved and allow people to use credit cards on those parking meters.
Thank you. Next question. If you could implement your own vision for our city, what will Hermosa Beach look like in 10 years? Mary.
Boy, in 10 years, I would love it. I'm listening and it really bothers me that we have a reputation for being in an antagonistic relationship with our business community. That just makes no sense at all. We are 1.43 square miles, 20,000 residents. We have the best poker hand anybody could possibly have with the assets of this coastal community. We should be able to mobilize where we want to go together in 20 years. One specific part of the vision would be a balanced set of assets and businesses and new developments that bring high quality visitors and people who want to hang out and spend money because they're so unique here that they're just not going to get this experience anywhere else. That the people who live here don't avoid downtown if they do right now because that's where they want to be. And so I think, once again, I think it's doable.
Thank you. Trent?
This is actually my core campaign message. I want to make Hermosa Beach better by spending our tax dollars on visible, usable improvements for the residents and guests that come to Hermosa Beach. Hermosa Beach is already a wonderful place, and we can make it better. It can be fun, fair, an exciting place for people to come and visit, to stay, to live, to buy a house here, and to raise their family. My vision is that it's similar to what we have today. I believe our community is wonderful, and the people that live here are great, and we're going to continue that. And it's a lot of work just to keep it going. And we need to be very fair to our businesses. We need to attract the key businesses. We need the Skechers project. We need the Strand and Pier. And we need to keep this moving. And we need to help people that want to invest in this community by getting out of their way and stop the code enforcement people showing up on their doorstep. It's too much Big Brother. Free people coalescing together will always move the rock down the field and be better for it. And that's what I believe in. And I believe that we can do it, and we're well on our way. And if you elect me at the city council, I will help us get it there. Thank you.
And because in the rules I reserve the right to change the rules at any time, and I like this question, and we're burning through the questions, we only have a few more, I'm going to have everyone answer this one. So, same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
Yes.
Okay. The question is, if you could implement your own vision for our city, what will Hermosa Beach look like in 10 years? And let's just go down the line. So Hanny, Matt, Stacy, and then Pete.
Okay. So those of you who have heard me speak before, have probably heard this before, that my wife and I moved to Hermosa Beach 10 years ago or so and built our house and told our kids to get really comfortable in the rooms because they're going to be there until they go to college because we have no plans to go anywhere. So that's my weird thing, that Hermosa Beach is great today. The community is great today. It's a wonderful place to live. People come here to go on vacation. The only thing that I would see in Hermosa Beach changing in 10 years from now will be having nicer streets and maybe safer downtown areas. But other than that, just maybe, obviously, we talked about our business community, getting our businesses more active and alive and successful. But this town is great. I love it today, and I don't think I want to change it much 10 years from now.
Thank you, Julie. This is a great question. This is something that part of my campaign is about. I believe the current city council really is, their vision is a green idea city, and they're focused very heavy on environmental issues. We have 4 environmental activists on our current city council. The main reason why I got involved is I believe heavily in public safety. I'm running on this as a former reserve volunteer firefighter. I was really concerned about our fire service and our fire station. That's why I got involved. This is why I'm here and why I got on the EPAC commission. We lost our fire service. We let it get to a point where we couldn't save it. We had to go ahead and outsource it. So my vision for Hermosa Beach would be not to be so much a green idea city, but to be a safe idea city, where we aggressively prosecute violent offenders and we make the city safe. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of the reasons why we love Hermosa Beach is, we don't want those things to change. So in 10 years, I want a lot of things to be the same. At the same time, we can always do better and improve. So we can improve our facilities and our efficiencies. We can improve our crime rates. We would like to see in 10 years thriving businesses in town. We want a cleaner downtown, and this may be some minutia, but some better signage around town. We talked about it earlier. It would really improve the look of the city and really help us stand out. So, thank you.
Thank you. As I have told the story before, I escaped Manhattan Beach for a better quality of life and moved to Hermosa Beach about 45 years ago. So the reason I came here is because Hermosa is a small city. We know our neighbors. We love our community. We love to shop downtown. It's clean. I want it to be safe. We're going to mix the old with the new. Because progress comes and things change, so we have to take that into consideration. But we should never lose fact of our heritage and where we came from. That's a very key element in anything or any community, because you can tear things down, but sometimes you wonder why that went away, but that happens. But, you know, it's we need a good, vibrant business community, not only downtown, but on the highway and aviation. We have 5 business districts. We need to support them. But all in all, I think everybody here is here because they want to hear that Hermosa will always be Hermosa, and it's not going to change that much, but we need to change some things for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Retail business owners are frustrated with smokers congregating outside their shops, littering the ground with cigarette butts, and annoying their patrons with smoke despite the city's smoking ban. What, if anything, should the city do to address the business's concerns about cigarette smoke and litter? Stacy.
Well, glad to hear that people are frustrated with smoking. We did pass a 5-0 vote of the council to ban smoking. And we changed the penalty from a misdemeanor to an infraction so that we would feel comfortable issuing citations to people that were violating our smoking ordinance. You know, we haven't really done a great job with that. A lot of it is a resource issue, and we also like to be nice to our visitors and residents and don't really want to have a heavy hand. At the same time, we can do a much better job issuing warnings and educating people on our smoking ban, and we can definitely do a better job eliminating the areas that attract smoking, like the dark alleys and our parking lots. So increased lighting and education, I think, can go a long way. Thank you.
Matt.
Thank you, Julian. I've actually brought this issue up before one of our EPAC meetings as far as dealing with this, because one of my visions is to have a public safety commission to deal with issues. I really wish the biggest problem we would have in the downtown area is dealing with cigarette smoking. But this has become more, I believe, of an environmental and political issue to go ahead and stop cigarette smoking. The fact that somebody was actually charged, multiple people have been charged with misdemeanors for smoking cigarettes in the downtown area is ridiculous. The only reason why this even came to light is somebody had sent in a letter to the city council explaining in graphic detail of the criminal prosecution that he had gone through for smoking a cigarette. This is absolutely ridiculous. I think we need to focus on more important safety issues in the downtown area. If we want to go ahead and have a non-smoking area, hopefully someday we can get there, but right now, I walked down here tonight, I saw people smoking in the alley. You're not going to stop cigarette smoking. You might as well have a designated area and just accept it's going to happen for now. Thank you.
Next question. Out of homeowners, renters, businesses, and visitors, whose concerns should take priority and why? Hannah.
Homeowners, renters, businesses, and visitors, is that what you said?
That is correct, sir.
I think everything that we do in a town like Hermosa Beach, which is at least a good portion of the summer's a tourist town, is a balance of all these 4 people. People that live here, most of them, like myself, obviously live around the year, whether you're a homeowner or a renter. I think there's no priority as far as the difference between those two. Businesses, obviously, a lot of people, including myself, part of the reason why we loved Hermosa Beach and wanted to move here is because of the businesses that are here. And we lived in Redondo Beach before we came here, and we're in Hermosa Beach and Pier Plaza every weekend because of the businesses that are here, and we spend most of our weekends here. The visitors are here to enjoy our beach, and we have to make sure that they're safe and comfortable. It's very difficult when we pick any one of those 4 categories so they have priority. Everything has to balance. The one thing that is serving on the council, though, we get the benefit of hearing from the first 3 more than the 4th. So we get to hear from our homeowners, the renters, and the businesses, so we get their input and we factor this in. We don't really get an opportunity that much to hear from our visitors. They're usually here for a few hours and go home. So I guess the first 3 we'll factor their priorities and interests for because we hear from them. But I think all 4 of them, we should have a balance between all four categories.
Thank you. Pete Tucker.
Thank you. The priorities really are probably equal. We have homeowners, businesses, and renters. They all are part of our community. We listen to them, I know the council does, and gets their input as to which way the city should head. As far as visitors go, the reason they come to Hermosa is because they want to experience what we all experience and why we moved here, the lifestyle of this community. And that's one reason I think we're all here, the lifestyle. We're able to escape the everyday rigors of the world and just come down and look at the ocean, relax, and that's why we're here. And that's why visitors come. They want to experience that too. And a lot of these visitors stay and they become homeowners or even renters. So I think what we have here is a captive audience on the way this city has headed and what we've developed. And we do have that worldwide reputation of why visitors come and return many, many times. So I think all in all, I think it's fine what we're doing, and we do all listen, and the council, I know, listens also because they make some of the ordinances and rules that we have to live by. Thank you.
Next question. How important is political ideology to local government? And how will your political party affiliation shape your actions as a council person?